By the time that this video actually gets published, it's probably going to be so late at this point compared to the news that was just released yesterday. Part of the problem for me is right now is I have a massive backlog of videos that I need to get out. I've kind of gotten such a good rhythm of recording a lot that I've left myself with no room to actually edit and publish them. So sorry if this ends up being really late and kind of old news, but at the time that I'm recording this right now, it's the day after, oh god, what's his name now? Is it John McAfee, the McAfee guy who created the antivirus software? He basically, on Twitter yesterday, talked about, and actually was willing to bet people that Bitcoin was said to reach about $500,000 at the least within 3 years. And I actually kind of looked at the actual, first primary source of Twitter. He got into detail about how he came to this conclusion, what other cryptocurrency thoughts and opinions he had as well. One of them being that he thought Ethereum could be as high, well, 1 Ether could be as high as $200,000 per ETH within 3 years as well. So some absolute staggering figures. As for how he came to this conclusion, he talked about how he had a doctorate in something or other, and he had all these really advanced complex charts and kind of models that he used to come to this price point. But I thought it'd be fun making a video at least about whether or not I think it's remotely possible to actually get to a point where in just 3 years time, that's like 36 months, that's nothing. If we could actually get to the point where one Bitcoin is $500,000. And to cut a long story short, to save you from minutes and minutes of going on, I do think it's entirely possible, but not necessarily for the reasons that some of you would expect. Yes, I can see Bitcoin going up drastically in price based on its own merits, of course, the fact it is a trustless, decentralized system, all that spiel that you're so used to. But the only way in which I could actually see Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies rising that tremendously drastically, I mean, we take a step back, $500,000 is, what's that, £400,000? And Bitcoin right now is about 1.5 thousand, £1,500. That's a lot of multiples for it to get to that point. And so in my mind, the only way it could actually reach that point if this development in Bitcoin coincides with a terrifying devaluation in standard fiat currencies like the dollar and the pound and euro and yen. I haven't really spent too much time discussing kind of macroeconomics on this channel, but it is something that I'm incredibly interested in, and I do subscribe to that other kind of content on YouTube, and I'm terrified, I'm really scared on a daily basis about what central banks around the world are doing. I just look around me as well. I'm in a part of the UK where there's not that much money going around. People are really struggling and people are getting into debt here. I can see it with my own eyes. I can see friends of mine who just don't have spare money for anything, just cost of housing, of cars. Sorry, it's all dog walkers. I can just see the perfect storm brewing, and I'm really terrified for the next couple of years, honestly. It's actually quite frustrating because I'm expressing my fears and anxieties to like members of my family, certain people I know, and they look at me like I'm an absolute kook. I have members of my family who are doing quite well in life. They have a decent amount of cash, a good income, and they just let it sit there in their bank account, the cash, fiat dollars or fiat pounds. And it's just nuts to me. I tell them, like, I'm really quite stern as well. I'm like, please, for the love of God, if you don't want to buy cryptocurrency, that's fine. Please just buy gold and silver, just something that's actually backed by kind of value and years of being recognized as a store of value. And while we're at it as well, could you please just maybe have some kind of long-term food and water supply in case some kind of Mad Max scenario happens? And people just look at me like I'm nuts, and they use these terms which really do my head in as well. Like speaking to one member of my family talking about me saying I should sell my cryptocurrencies so that I can get hard cash, and that saying things like you'll always have a couple £1,000 in your bank account, stuff like that. And it's like, if only you knew how much, even on a yearly basis, our currencies are being devalued. If you're just holding on to cash right now, you're basically burning 3% of your entire net worth every year just doing nothing. And this could very well be its own video entirely, talking about the fact that I am so frustrated that no one around me in my actual day-to-day life, no one understands what the hell is going on, what bankers are doing, how we're being essentially robbed in the back door in a kind of insidious, invisible way. Nobody understands just how much of a wreck our economy is. They don't see that things like house prices just can't keep rising forever. This is going to come crashing down in a horrendous way. They just ignore it. They just live their day-to-day lives in this kind of ignorant bliss, watching what's hot on the TV at the moment, their Love Island, and they're just not aware of the realities of it all at all, and I find it immensely frustrating. And so yeah, I've kind of gone off on a tangent now, but going back to the original point of this video, I do think that we're going to get in a currency crisis where it's going to reflect like Germany in the early part of the 20th century. We could have a point where people have wheelbarrows of pound notes and dollar notes that are just useless, and I think we're at a point now with cryptocurrencies have allowed us to get to a point where after the next crash we finally have an option to say no, to choose an alternative that can't be manipulated by banks and governments. And that's where we're going to see, going back to McAfee or McAfee, however you pronounce it, that's where we're going to get these absurd valuations of $500,000 per Bitcoin, $200,000 per Ether. He said he doesn't have, none of the other cryptocurrencies are advanced or large enough now to have some kind of accurate prediction. Someone asked him about Ripple, he wasn't sure, but you know, if you just get a kind of similar rates of growth for all those other cryptocurrencies, then I know that a lot of people watching this right now, you and I, will be rich. We'll be very, 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 very rich. Actually, to kind of backtrack on that, we won't be rich because the only thing that will have happened is that the dollar will have been horrendously devalued. So in that sense, we won't be much richer at all, but with all these people in the economy who just have all their material worth in cash for the most part, then we're going to be able to exploit that situation and be able to buy a lot more things, store a lot more value in the event of a crash when other people essentially lose everything. And for us, I still don't think it's something to look forward to, because even if in the long run we benefit immensely from this, in the short term things are going to be horrendous. You know, we could be in a situation where we have riots on the streets, large scale lootings, just kind of civil disobedience in general, and things, you know, not going very well. We've seen what can happen in other countries when the economy tanks, and it's not nice, it's not pretty. In Venezuela, people are being kidnapped for ransom, and I don't want to live in a country where that would happen on a large scale. And so part of me really does hope that the economy could just keep going fairly smoothly, even though I know it won't, and could be a matter of days, weeks, months, years where everything does just come crashing down. Anyway, so as always, thank you so much for watching. Apologies if this is really old news and that this is really late by the time that I publish this. I need to just get my act together, stop recording for a little while and just push out content. So thank you for watching. Like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Thank you. Cheers. Sorry, before I forget as well, one final thing. Final thing this time, I promise. I had the shock of my life yesterday. I opened up my computer on my Ledger kind of affiliate account where I have a affiliate link for Ledger wallets, and so looking on there, I'm quite lucky if I get maybe 1-2 orders a day, which really helps immensely. Thank you for those of you who've done that. So kind of standard, you know, you expect to see 1, 2. There was one point where I had 10 orders in a single day, which I thought I was like the luckiest person in the world. But I looked yesterday and someone bought 100 wallets. A single person, 100 wallets in one day, which was, I mean, I thought the website had glitched, but apparently not, because I actually got paid that amount of money, which is immense. And so I had to say thank you on video in person, because that is amazing. I'm trying to think who would actually do that, who would buy 100 wallets in one go. Kind of 10, you can expect 10 wallets, maybe close friends and family, but 100? That must be some kind of organizational thing. And so the fact that one of those people with such responsibilities and budgets is watching my videos and I guess valuing what I have to say and using those links, that's amazing. And so thank you so much. I could not go without saying that. Sorry, again, thank you. Cheers, bye.
Your